Good morning. My name is Max Siegel. Thank you for the chance to address abstinence-only until marriage, a policy that has transformed my life. I share my recommendations on how to improve sexuality education programs as a 23-year-old living with HIV who has spent the entirety of his young adulthood working to prevent new infections. My goal is to portray the personal impact of this flawed policy while explaining how the lessons I have learned may apply to other young people who today make up 15% of all new HIV infections. Thank you to Chairman Waxman and the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform for including an HIV-positive young person in today's hearing. I experienced abstinence-only until marriage education taught by my junior high school gym teacher. In his class, he told me and my male classmates that sex is dangerous and that we should think more seriously about it when we grow up and marry. He made clear that only one kind of sexuality, heterosexuality, ending in marriage, was acceptable to talk about. Already aware of my sexual orientation, I found no value in his speech. It did not speak to me in my life. It might as well not have happened. While most formal abstinence-only programs are more extensive than the class I experienced, they rely on similarly exclusive and stigmatizing messages that lack basic information about sexual health. Multiple studies, including a recent federal evaluation, have found that the more expansive abstinence-only programs do not work either. When I was 17, I began seeing someone 6 years older than me. The first time we had sex, I took out a condom, but he ignored it. I did not know how to assert myself further. I knew enough to suggest a condom, but I didn't adequately understand the importance of using one, and even if I did, I had no idea how to discuss condoms with my partner. The abstinence-only message did not prepare me for life, and I contracted HIV from the first person with whom I consented to having unprotected sex. I was still in high school. I was diagnosed with HIV a few months after becoming infected. My friends and family were devastated. We didn't know about HIV, and we quickly developed false and damaging beliefs about my situation. It seemed as though I had done something particularly wrong, but it never occurred to us that I, in fact, engaged in fewer risk behaviors for HIV infection than most of my peers. My parents were in no position to dispel these beliefs or otherwise educate me about HIV or AIDS because they, too, lacked sufficient knowledge of sexual health. Instead, they mourned the loss of their child. I decided to pursue a career in the prevention and treatment of the virus, and one role I assumed was that of an HIV test counselor. Over 3 years, I gained a great deal of insight into the shared experiences of individuals living with HIV. I have not allowed discomfort to prevent me from addressing the needs of those around me, and as an educator from reacting in ways that have proven to be helpful. Sexuality education shouldn't be different. Adults should not allow their moments of discomfort to trump the needs of youth for complete and accurate information. Sexuality education programs must be as focused as my counseling sessions. Programs must be designed to meet the needs of individual students, most of whom will be sexually active before high school graduation. Students of all ages should know abstinence as a primary method to maintain one's sexual health, but they must be given additional tools to equip them for later life. These tools should be discussed in a way that is age-appropriate by educators with whom students can identify and communicate openly. We must facilitate critical thought about sexuality in terms of keeping students healthy and, ultimately, alive. Today's hearing is not about abstinence being a prevention tool. I think we all agree it is, but rather whether abstinence-only programs are deserving of federal resources, and the answer is no. More individuals have this virus now than ever before in history. Most children born with HIV no longer die. They go into adolescence and adulthood. Within and outside of marriage, these young people must know how to prevent transmission of HIV to their sexual partners and how to protect themselves from further co-infection, other infections, and unintended pregnancy. Abstinence-only curricula fail to meet the needs of individuals who are living with HIV. They further disparage HIV-positive youth by suggesting that they are dirty, dying, and unfit to be loved. What I experienced in junior high gym class is a routine example of the messages of abstinence-only until marriage programs that children across the country still experience today. These programs ignore the needs of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender youth who are at particularly high risk for HIV infection and use government dollars to condemn them. They also compromise young women's safety by portraying sexually active females as scarred and untrustworthy. From a healthcare perspective, it's essential that congressional scrutiny of these programs focus on the consequences of abstinence-only's condemnation of young people. HIV prevention must respond to the state of our domestic epidemic now. I have worked with many women who contracted HIV within marriage. A woman asking her husband to respect her decision to abstain from sex or to use a condom is not supported by abstinence-only's teaching that sex is an expectation within marriage and that condoms do not work. There is no sufficient reason why this completely preventable infectious disease should have impacted any of our lives. After 6 years of living with HIV and striving to prevent this virus in others, I strongly believe that it's society's responsibility to give young people all the tools they will need to lead healthy lives. Any American infected with HIV is a societal failure. I see no room for abstinence-only in this time of shrinking public health budgets and increased accountability. Please end the failed experiment of abstinence-only until marriage education.
Thank you, Mr.